definitely gives PLT. Avoid these products, are so itchy, no stretch to it whatsoever. It's already sort of coming away here, fraying on the stitching. I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat, this is not worth £50. I also hate the crepe fabric, probably wouldn't pay it. I feel like it just makes things look quite cheap. Something about this top does not look quite right. It just fits really, really badly. Hello, welcome back to another video. This week's video is something a little bit different, and this has essentially been born out of your guys' requests mixed with me sort of missing having a little bit more variety when it comes to my hauls. You guys have been super keen in terms of like perfume recommendations, makeup, beauty, and also normal clothes, and I have been on the hunt for some new summer pieces. So I thought, let's mash all these things together and do a like first impressions review of some very popular Instagram brands. I asked on Instagram, and whitefox was by a country mile the most requested brand that you guys wanted to see me review. You wanted to see me try the pieces on. Honestly, the inspo behind this video is also the videos that Patricia Bright used to do when she would order from Wish, Shein, all these sorts of different websites and try the pieces out and honestly review them. I used to love watching those videos, and I feel like they're so hard to find, or no one even really does them anymore. So basically taking a little bit of inspiration from that, I have a massive rack of clothes behind me, and we're going to try things on. We're going to go through sizing, quality, and also I want to rate things based off like how they look on the website to in person, because sometimes there can be differences. I will leave my measurements in the description box below. I will also pop them on the screen here so that you guys have them as a sizing reference. I also want to make it really clear this video is not sponsored. I didn't get any of this stuff for free. I've paid for it all. And I also want to make it really clear, I would not recommend, nor do I think it's normal, to go and buy like 20 items in one go. You likely don't need 20 items new in your wardrobe, full stop. I just wanted to get like a wide range of pieces so that I could really try things out, because they might flop in some areas and other areas the pieces might be really, really, really worth the money. So I wanted to make sure that we had a wide range. Very expensive even with the 30% off code. Like, I've spent a lot of money on this video, so I'm hoping it's going to be helpful for you guys. A little bit of background on whitefox is I remember when they did not used to be this big fast fashion conglomerate that they are now. Honestly, I would put them on a level with like PLT and like what Misguided used to be. They have a lot of items on the website, and the only difference really is that they are a higher price point. Obviously we'll see quality wise, that's the only difference really, is that there's a slight upcharge. 6-7 years ago, that was the last time I did like a big order from them, and they were just a small swimwear brand like that, and I got a couple of bikini bottoms. I remember having to pay customs on them. They did some normal clothes, but it really was a very small business and a very small website, so that compared to where they're at now is insane. I do just want to comment on the shopping experience. Personally, I feel like unless you know what you want, that website is incredibly overwhelming. Like, there is a lot of items on that website, so unless you know what you want, it can be quite overwhelming. And I also feel like from a consumption point of view, that's probably done deliberately, because even when I was shopping for this haul, I kept adding more and more stuff because I was just like, oh, that looks nice, that looks nice, that looks nice, that looks nice. When you're overwhelmed with so many options, it's very easy, especially when they are at, I would say the pricing is like on the more affordable side. Definitely, it's definitely in line with fast fashion prices, but it's not as affordable as Shein or some PLT pieces and things like that. But when things are on the more affordable side, it's very easy for your brain to just go into, oh well, I can get this amount of items for £300, which is obviously still a lot of money, but if you were buying from a slower brand or a more sustainable brand, you might only be able to get 3 pieces for that amount of money. So I do think there must be like a psychological element in terms of the pricing and how many items they sell. I do think unless you know what you want, it's a very overwhelming shopping experience. Going back to when I ordered from them a very, very long time ago in my first year of uni, they were super small, Aussie based, and Australia was their only warehouse, so they were customs. Now they have a UK warehouse. Shipping was super fast, it actually came next day. In terms of the US, I've seen that they've just recently opened a US warehouse, so I'm assuming Australia, US and UK, you guys are fine. I'm not sure about Europe, but I know that UK there's no customs and it can literally come next day. US, I'm not sure if it could come next day because the US is a lot bigger than the UK, but they definitely have a US warehouse, and obviously they will have their Australian warehouse as well. So I did go for like a summer theme slash, yeah, basically a summer theme in terms of everything that I picked up. It's all quite summery based. There's a little bit of colour in there. I am more of a neutrals person, but in summer I do like to add a little bit of colour. So, and I did also pick up the sweats, because I feel like out of everything from White Fox, when I think of White Fox, I think of the sweats. Even my niece, who's 12, was asking me about the sweats from White Fox, like asking me if I had some. So I think they're probably at this point best known for the sweat sets that they do. I feel like those were everywhere last year in particular, and the sort of loungy stuff that they do. But they're definitely, I would say it's like an even split between the lounge stuff and the like going out dressy sort of stuff. So I've tried to do not really an even split because I've only got one sweat set, but I've done an even split of some more like fancier going out stuff and more casual stuff, some holiday pieces. So yeah, we're going to try them on one by one and we'll go through them. Okay, so this is the first item. I've got the Offstage hoodie in the glacier grey colour. Full price, this is £55. The fabric blend on these hoodies is 65 polyester, 35% cotton. I know everyone has become like an expert in polyester recently. I'm definitely not an expert in polyester, but I do know from the sweats that I own and that I like and that wash the best and that stand up the best over time and that tend to be more worth the money, higher quality. In a tracksuit, you should really be getting more cotton than polyester, in my opinion. Some people might not want 100% cotton, because when things are 100% cotton, they do tend to shrink in the wash unless they are selling it to you already pre-shrunk. They've already taken it through that process. So people might want a little bit of a blend, but typically people would want it to be more cotton than it is polyester. But from people who I've spoken to on Instagram who have these hoodies, apparently they don't wash well at all and they turn into cardboard basically after a few washes. The inside is the sort of brushed cottony fleece sort of fabric, so it's very soft on the skin, but I wouldn't say this is heavy or anything like that. It definitely sits with a bit of structure because it does have the dropped shoulder. I'll like zoom you out and show you a little bit better in a second, but I wouldn't say it has incredible structure to it or incredible weight to it. I would say it's like a light to medium weight hoodie. It doesn't really feel any different to when I've bought hoodies from PLT before for like 20 quid. Honestly, it doesn't feel any different to those for me, which is quite surprising because I've seen the hoodies and the sweats in particular get quite a lot of hype, but to me it doesn't seem any different to your run-of-the-mill £20 Fruit of the Loom hoodies, sweats sort of stuff. Okay, I'm going to stand back so that you guys can see a little bit better, but in terms of the colour of this, it's not, because I have the joggers on, which I'll show you in a second, but hopefully you can see. This is more of like a true, I like this shade of grey. This one is the sort of creamy toned, vintagey looking mild grey, and there is a slight mild to it. Branding wise, you've just got White Fox in bubble writing in the green. I do like the creamy grey with the green, which is why I picked it. And then it's big on the back and it just looks like that. However, this hoodie has no pocket, so there's no pockets to this whatsoever. In terms of sizing, I got a medium/large in this, and personally I do feel like sizing wise this is pretty true to size for a medium/large. It's very oversized. It's plenty long enough, like if I pull it down it fully covers my bum, and it's not a straight fit hoodie. It kind of has that cocoon effect, so it does cinch in at the bottom. It's not like a straight fit. I'll give you a 360 so that you can see properly. This is how it looks. You can see how it's sort of got the drop shoulder. It does have a hood. There's no drawstring in it, so if you don't like the drawstring look, which personally I don't love, I do prefer them without. Very happy about that. But yeah, there's no pockets on this whatsoever, and it's just a very sort of cocoon balloony sort of fit. I do like the fit of this, but in terms of would I pay full price for this, which thankfully I didn't because there was a discount on it, I definitely would not pay full price for this. It is just not worth £55, and I know that I have a very expensive taste when it comes to hoodie. I love my worst behaviour ones. I want to be clear, I'm not comparing it to that because that's £100 more than this and it's a totally different ball game in terms of quality. I do have other hoodies that are around this sort of price point, and I feel like you can get much better hoodies at this price point from other brands. Sisters and Seekers, the ones that I've tried from them, have been much nicer. Forth and Reckless do pretty good hoodies as well, and they're all sort of around a similar price point. And I just think, especially after the things I've heard about these sort of shrinking and not maintaining shape well and sort of going like cardboard after a few washes, I just don't see the need to be spending £55 on this when you can get a much better one that's going to hold up a lot better. It's got more cotton to it, it's got a better fabric blend, it's got a pocket for example, and it's got a little bit more weight to it. I think that's probably going to be where your money's worth, because honestly this isn't horrific, it's not bad, it's just equally not any different to a PLT £20 hoodie. And I know that people may think because this isn't £20 it means like workers are being treated fairly, but White Fox actually have no information in terms of like the supply chain, the ethics of the supply chain, or anything like that. So whilst you might assume because something costs more it means workers are getting better or getting a better wage, it's not always necessarily the case. So I can't say that that is the case with this. And I'm not saying you should go and buy from Pretty Little Thing or anything like that, but I just don't think this hoodie is personally worth the price tag. You can get better for the same price from other brands. Okay, next item that I'm going to go through is the Core Essentials sweatpants in grey marl. I got these in a size medium, and I believe these were also around the £45 to £50 mark full price. Okay, so this is the joggers up close in terms of the top of them. You've got a pretty standard waistband, you've got drawstrings, pretty standard, nothing to complain about there. Branding wise, it just says White Fox on the side here, and it's like a sticker print sort of logo. You do have pockets on here. Thankfully you do have pockets because you don't have them on the hoodie, so if you were to get a matching set you're gonna need pockets somewhere. Just to be clear, this is a different shade of grey though, so it's not the same shade as the top, but it wasn't meant to be a matching set anyway, so that doesn't really matter. I do actually really like how these fit in terms of, you can tell that these have been shaped for a woman, if that makes sense. I personally am tired of joggers and all that sort of stuff being made to be unisex, because I feel like as a woman you want a slightly different fit to your joggers. You want them to be comfortable on the waistband, like there's plenty of stretch in here, they're not too tight or anything like that, and you've got the adjustability here, but you don't need like a super long crotch that's like down to here. And equally you don't necessarily want them to be flat looking, you want them to have a little bit of shape. Like these give me a much better shape than most of my unisex joggers, because you can just tell these have been made with women in mind, because it has this sort of shaping around the hips, which I just find really flattering, especially if you are more of a like narrower build and you want to give a more hippie illusion. It will really help you to do that. I do really like how these have been fitted. In terms of the fabric, it's the same on the inside, so it's just that brushed sort of cottony feeling, typical sort of sweats fabric. I've heard that these shrink and go like cardboard in the wash, so do be mindful of that. But again, if I just bring you guys down and show you the full length of these joggers and how these sort of look, this is how they look. They're cuffed at the bottom. I've rolled them once. If I unroll them, you can see they're plenty long enough, so if you're on the tall side they're a really good length. Equally if you're shorter, they're cuffed, so it doesn't really matter, the length is going to be pretty good. And these do definitely have more weight to them in my opinion than the hoodie that I've just shown you. These feel thicker, and honestly I actually really do like these joggers. I think these are definitely much better quality and much more worth the money than the hoodie that I've just tried was. They give you a really nice shape, they feel much thicker. Personally, I feel like these joggers are worth it in my opinion. I wouldn't say the hoodie is, but the joggers are much better. They fit really nicely, you can tell they've been made with women in mind. Don't have a super long crotch to them, they have that sort of like built-in shaping around the hips. They're a really nice colour as well, it's that sort of like vintagey looking grey, no prison grey, no really sort of like boyish grey, if that makes sense. They're a really nice like Princess Diana sort of grey shade, and I really do like the colour of these. Obviously I've not been able to wash them yet. I may actually keep these, so I will probably keep you guys updated on them, but you guys will have seen me banging on about the garage joggers that I've had and that I've really been enjoying and using and loving a lot. I would say I like these just as much, if not a little bit more, because they don't have such a long crotch to them. So honestly I'm really impressed with these joggers. If you are looking for something that's not too warm and a little bit more lightweight, I don't think this is going to be the jogger for you. Sizing wise, I would recommend that you go up a size if you want them truly oversized. I feel like if I'd have gotten my true to size, it would have been quite tight around the thigh area. So I would definitely recommend that you go up a size if you want that oversized fit. I wouldn't say they come naturally super oversized in your true to size. I would definitely go up a size if you want that sort of fit. But joggers I definitely really like, and I feel like for the price point it's very much in line with other joggers, if not a little bit better than other joggers. I've tried joggers that are way more expensive than this that these are way nicer than as well. So the joggers get a tick from me. The hoodie does not. I do not get the hype. Maybe it's a different type of hoodie that I should have got, but I do not get the hype on the hoodies. They feel really cheap. The joggers feel good. I'm very happy with the joggers. Okay, apologies, because I feel like the lighting might have been kind of cooked on those first couple clips, to the point where I might actually switch things around and put this one first so that you guys don't click off the video how dog crap the lighting was. There was something wrong with my camera. But we're on to the next item now. This item is the Vacate Always Baby Tee in lemon, and I got it in a size small. Details wise, it just has the sort of, it's very similar to the Alphalete Baby Tee, to be honest. You just got this neckline around here, not really cap sleeves, it's more like a true short sleeve, but it definitely does flare a little. It says White Fox. You've got like all the classic summer logos that are everywhere at the moment. So you've got the lobster, the sort of seashell, and the starfish. I do like the red and the lemon together. I think it looks really good, and obviously lemon is a very trending colour right now. And then it's literally just comes down to around here. So in terms of height, my belly button is here, and this is where the top sort of comes down to. Then it's just a straight cut, but it does cover my belly button. It's very, 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 very similar to the Alphalete Baby Tees if you have tried those. If you like those, you will probably like these. I will say the fabric on these is very similar. It's only 1% off. These are 95 cotton, 5 spandex. The Alphalete ones are 94 6. So there's only a 1% difference. These just feel a little thicker, in all honesty, and a little less stretchy. So I actually wouldn't recommend that you size down in these. I would recommend that you go true to size. They definitely don't have as much stretch to them, and they're a little bit thicker, so I feel like if you size down it might be quite uncomfortable around the armpit region, or it might be quite hard to get on overhead. I feel like this was very reasonably priced. Quality of it feels really nice, even though it's a super light colour. I've not got a bra on with it, I've just got nipple covers on with it, but it looks completely fine. The quality of it, there is nothing wrong with it. Like, I have no notes on this really, and with it being a similar fabric blend to the Alphalete one, it shouldn't shrink in the wash. It should be completely fine. Really nice. So far, this and the joggers are definitely my favourite things I have tried. This gets a tick from me. Okay, next up I've got the, I believe this is the Let Me Adore You ribbed tank top. Yes, in black. I got this in an extra small because I do usually size down for my tank top. Fabric blend on this, it's mainly polyester, but it does also have rayon and spandex in it as well, I believe. Mainly polyester for a ribbed cotton tank top is definitely an interesting choice. Definitely not my most comfortable or nice on the skin feeling tank top that I've ever tried. I have ones from Aritzia, I've got Marks and Spencer's ones which were literally like £8, Zara ones, I've got Topshop ones from years ago, and those all have a lot more cotton in the blend of them. I'm pretty sure the Marks and Spencer's one is like mainly cotton. So it's definitely an interesting choice for a cotton looking ribbed tank top to be mainly polyester, but details wise it's just got the very basic sort of, not like completely square neckline, but it's definitely not rounded. I would say it's like a squoval sort of neckline. The straps are a good length. It does cut into my armpit a little bit, but I did size down and I didn't realise, because this looked like a really stretchy tank tops like this usually are very high stretch, which is why I tend to size down in them. This one has no stretch to it whatsoever. Like, the seams have no stretch. The fabric has very, very, very little stretch compared to, I literally have my Aritzia one right here, which has a lot of give to it. This one has a lot more stretch to it. And this one is also 94% cotton, 6% elastane. So a much better fabric blend. Obviously Aritzia is a lot more pricey. This is a TNA home stretch, by the way, than White Fox is, but I do think it's a choice to make a cotton rib tank top, and it's mainly polyester. It's a little bit itchy on the skin. I do have sensitive skin, so I can speak to that. It's a little itchy on the skin. It's very restrictive. I actually wouldn't recommend that you size down in this because it has no stretch and it is digging into me here, and it's a little bit uncomfortable. It still fits, but it's a little uncomfortable. The pluses it does have on my more cotton tanks, and I don't know if it's because it is polyester, is it's very dense, so it's not see-through at all. I don't know what the white version would be like, but usually even with black tank tops I get sheerness. With this one I have none whatsoever. It's a very solid black tank top, and I have no notes in terms of that. If I show you, my belly button is here and it comes down to about the top of my hip sort of height. But again, because of where this height sort of sits on me, I find that when tank tops are this length, as soon as I start walking or move around, or if I crouch down, sit down, it pings up like this and it turns into a crop top. So I personally prefer a little bit more extra length, but I know that this is like the ideal length for what I feel like is their typical customer who likes things to be a little on the cropped side. They'd sell a lot of cropped stuff. Most of their tops, even though they look full length on the website, when I've ordered them, they're all very, very, very cropped. So that's definitely their target sort of customer. In terms of the back, it's not a racer back, it's just a standard tank top back. Nothing to write home about again. Personally, I feel like you can get way better tank top in terms of comfortability, in terms of fabric blend and all that good stuff from even Marks and Spencer's, guys. Like if you're in the UK, you can get stuff from there. The Aritzia ones are a lot nicer than this. It's not the most comfortable, and for me, when I'm wearing a tank top like this, I want to be comfortable, and this has very, very little stretch. So if you are in the market for a tank top that's more on the stiff side, it doesn't have stretch to it, it's not as comfortable, it's a little bit more dense feeling, you'll probably love this. But if you are on the market for what you normally get with your typical ribbed tank top, I think there are way better options. Yeah, whilst this tank top definitely doesn't look bad, personally for me, it's not my favourite thing I've ever tried, and it's not something I would be rushing to go out and buy in other colours. Okay, moving on, we're going into some of the more like dressy summer bits. So this is the Not Over It Yet halter top in black, and I got it in a size small. So details wise on this, it's just a take on a lot of the stuff I've been seeing cropping up on Revolve all the way like from 2 years ago. Honestly, I feel like this trend sort of started in like 2023, and I'm seeing a lot of like higher end designers push it, but it's sort of putting metal pieces in or building a top around metal pieces. I've even seen some really cool ones that look, yeah, it's almost like the top is like a necklace. So it's definitely taking inspiration from that, and it's definitely a current trend, but it's just a plain halter top other than that, and then it has this sort of metal gold detailing. Obviously this is not real gold or anything like that, so I don't actually know how that's going to hold up in a wash. Back, it's obviously just a halter top. Halter does have a lot of stretch to it, so it's actually not uncomfortable on the traps. It has a really good amount of stretch even though it's not adjustable, and around here as well the seams have a lot of give and a lot of stretch, so it's not uncomfortable at the back either. In terms of length on this top, again, my belly button is here for reference, and then if I bring it down, it's honestly all these tops are sort of the same length. They sort of hit me just about where my hip bone starts, so it's like a long crop. I wouldn't say this is like a full length top for me because I still have a good chunk of my stomach out if I was to wear something on the lower rise side. At the moment I feel like it's so hard to find a true full length top, but I did know when I was ordering it that this wasn't going to be full length. I could tell on the website. And this one is 98% rayon, 2% elastane. It has a very, very, very nice stretch to it, and it has a very slight, I don't know if the camera is going to be able to pick it up, a very slight ribbed appearance, but it's very stretchy and very comfortable. I would say if you are between sizes, I would definitely size down in it because it has a lot of stretch to it, and it's very thick as well. This is not sheer at all. It also has a mesh lining all around the inside of it. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the purpose of that is, and it's a soft mesh, so it's not itchy, it's not uncomfortable, it's not irritating my skin. But yeah, I honestly feel like this is a really nice top, especially if you're someone who likes to get a basic top but just with something a little bit extra to it to wear with jeans, or to wear with cargos, or to wear with something to slightly try and dress it up. I feel like it's a really good option. It looks really nice, feels really nice on the skin, and it feels thick, not to the point where it's adding width to you or making things really unflattering, but it's just a very comfortable, dense, high quality sort of feeling top, and I honestly think it's really nice. My only concern is obviously this is not going to be real gold. Why would it be? You're not paying those sorts of prices. I don't know how that's going to hold up in the wash. It will probably, I would assume, it will probably tarnish over time, so that's definitely something to be aware of. Sizing wise for this, I would definitely say true to size, and if you are between sizes, I would probably take a size down. I paired this with the Bring Me a Dream, I believe it's called, Scot, in black. I got this in a size small. This is a hard pass from me. Fabric wise on this, it's pretty much entirely polyester. That is the only fabric that is on this, and I feel like it is quite deceiving because it looks online like it's going to be like a really nice linen-y sort of fabric, but it's not. This is pretty much entirely polyester. I'm pretty sure it's like 90% 90-something% polyester. Details wise, it doesn't have any like adjustability in the waist, so it doesn't really fit me right. I'm getting this gaping at the front here which won't go away, and around the leg this is so tight, and this sort of looks like, it's meant to look like the bloomer shorts I guess, but obviously it's a skirt, so it gives you a little bit more security I guess, because the length from the skirt portion should be giving you a bit more coverage, but this gives me like no coverage whatsoever. Like, I personally would not feel comfortable going out in this, but I feel like that's in general with like the bloomer shorts trend for me. None of them really feel comfortable to be going out in. Maybe for a festival, yes, but even then this wouldn't be my outfit of choice because it just fits really, really badly. And the shorts are the weirdest choice for a line-in. Like, it has no stretch to it whatsoever. I don't know what this fabric is, but it's literally has no stretch to it at all, cutting into me, and it's really uncomfortable. So the shorts are so tight and so uncomfortable, but then it's loose on the waist. It is just off, and the quality of this, honestly, it feels no different to something you would find again on PLT for a fraction of the price. Yeah, this is definitely not taller girl or larger glute girl friendly. The sizing's off and the quality feels really shitty on this to me, so for me this is a hard pass. Okay, holiday wise, I love a little bit of crochet, and they had some really cute looking glitter crochet pieces. So I picked up Cha-Cha knit mini skirt in raspberry in a size small. I'm not going to rag on sheerness when it comes to crochet pieces because it is in the nature of a crochet piece. Like, that's nothing to do with quality. You bought crochet, babe. Of course it's going to be see-through, so I'm not mad about that, but I don't think it looks sheer online. I don't know what they do to it, but just in case it's not obvious, there is no lining. Like, it is completely see-through, so whatever you wear underneath this, you are going to be able to see whatever you've put under it. It's 65% polyester, the rest metallic, whatever that means. I'm assuming that's because of the glitter on it. Obviously, details wise, I'll just show you. It has like an elasticated waistband at the top. The whole thing is pretty stretchy, to be honest, so for sizing it can definitely be interchangeable. You can definitely size down if you wanted to, but if you're on the taller side or you have more glute, I wouldn't recommend that you do that, because even in my true to size, this is really pushing it in terms of length. This is really short, and then at the bottom it's got this sort of fringe detailing, which is again going to be incredibly delicate, but that's not unique, or that doesn't make it a cheap shitty piece, because all crochet is incredibly delicate. You need to be incredibly careful with any crochet pieces, whether you spent £100, £200, £30, whatever you've spent, you need to be careful with it. And then in terms of the length on this, for me personally, this is just not gym girl friendly. So if you have larger glutes, I think we all know if you have larger glutes, it takes away quite a lot of the length in terms of mini skirts. For me personally, this is a little bit too short, and I don't mind things being short, but when the fabric is like this, I find that when I was testing this out, I've been walking around my room, it just completely rides up at the back and it just becomes way too short, to a point where personally I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing this. I do like the colour. I will say on the website it looks a lot more red in my opinion, but in real life it's definitely a lot more pink. And I also do think it looks denser on the website. It doesn't look sheer on the website, whereas obviously in real life it is, but I kind of expected that would be the case because I just know that crochet is going to be sheer. To show you it a little bit more close up, this is what it looks like. In terms of the rise, you could pull it up to be more high rise, but you're just going to lose length. I think it's meant to be worn sort of around hip height. Sizing wise, I would say it's pretty true to size. I probably wouldn't size down personally because I would lose length on it. But this is how it looks. It definitely is very flattering in terms of the glutes because it doesn't squish them in at all. Definitely lets the glute gains thrive. My main gripe with this, which I kind of expected to be the case, is it's so itchy. And if it's itchy on non-warm, non-sweaty skin, I cannot imagine the pain and rashes and hives I would be getting if I was to wear this in the heat. That's going to happen with most metallic things, but what you will find with the pricier brands, for that reason they will put some sort of barrier between the fabric and your skin so that you're not coming out in hives and rashes and it's not going to itch you and you are actually going to be able to wear it. Obviously White Fox haven't done that, so for me personally this is a pass because it's just so itchy and so uncomfortable. I like the idea of it, but personally I would rather spend a little bit more, get something with a tiny bit more length and get something that's got a little bit of a lining in it. I don't mind things being sheer, but I would want that barrier between the itchiness of this metallic fabric and my skin. Too itchy, I would pass. But if I've not put you off it, or you're on the smaller side, or you're on the more petite side, I would definitely say you can stay true to size. If you're between sizes, you can definitely size down. But I would so far say from the 2 bottoms I've just tried, these are not tall girl or glute girl friendly. They're definitely made with shorter people in mind. So keep that in mind if you're looking at any minis on the website. It might not work the best for you. Okay, following on, I did also pick up the dress version of that skirt because I fell in love with the gold version. So that's what I picked up next. I got this in a size small. As you can see, she's completely see-through. I knew this would be the case. In terms of the details for this, you've obviously got the gold metallic fabric. You've got straps either side, which are adjustable, so you can make them longer, you can make them shorter. It's just basically the skirt in dress form, so you've still got the tassels at the bottom, which are very delicate and they do catch onto things. Even just having this on my body right now, I'm getting itchy. Like, my arm is itching. My other issue with this is it's even shorter than the skirt, so this for me personally is way too short. Like, it's not actually covering my bum cheeks. Like, the bottom of the dress ends halfway down my butt cheeks, and then I've just got the raffle bit at the bottom covering it, but it's not really covering it. And yes, I can stretch it to like pull it down to cover it a little bit better, but as soon as I move, as soon as I walk, it just rides straight back up, and then we're back to square one, and it's way too short. So this is definitely more for short people or slimmer people who don't have as much glue, who don't have as much thigh, because that does eat up the fabric and impact length. Avoid these products unless you are buying them from a brand that's put a lining in them, because it's going to be painful. Sizing wise, if you are not put off by it, you can definitely stay true to size. If between sizes, you can definitely go with size down because it does have a lot of stretch and a lot of give to it. But for me personally, this is way too short and way too itchy, so I will not be keeping this piece. I do love how it looks though. Like, I love the gold metallic with the skin. I feel like with a tan on holiday, this would be so nice, but it's just not meant to be. It's way too itchy for me. Moving into more like birthday sort of fits, night out sort of looks, because I think girls, I think we should bring back dressing up. If you don't want to dress up, that's totally fine, but when I've gone out and like a dress and heels on recently, I feel like I get so many strange looks, and also no one else really dresses up anymore, so I feel really silly, and I wish we could bring back dressing up to go out. And if people don't want to, that's totally fine, but I wish more of us would band together and start dressing up more to go out again, because I miss it. Like, I want to put on like a cute mini dress and heels, you know. So I picked up the Living Like That Scoop mini dress in black, and I got this in a size small. Fabric blend on this is rayon, spandex and polyester. It's mainly rayon and polyester with a little bit of spandex to give it that stretch. You have just got a very deep V in the front here, and then it does have this sort of boning wire detail here, so this bit is wired, and obviously it's a very chesty dress. I think if you are on the smaller side in terms of chest, I don't think this dress will work for you, because even for me, I feel like I need a little bit more boob, fill it out a little bit better, because it feels like if I move around, it's gonna gape and I'm gonna have a nip slip. So I would definitely need to tape myself into this one. And it also doesn't offer any support or any sort of pushing together. The fabric is too lax to do that. Like, I have a lot of excess fabric on the strap, and it's just not thick enough. It's thick, but it's not thick enough to do like the pushing that I feel like, for example, with a House of CB dress, I do sometimes get caught like built in because of how thick some of the fabrics that they use are. Not all of them, but some of them are quite good. And then in terms of the length, it just comes down into a mini dress, and it's very mini. I will say this brand is definitely for short queens, okay? This is very, very, very short. I can pull it down, but again, I just get the same issue over and over again, that it just rides all the way back up as soon as I start walking. It does also have a lining underneath as well, so it is quite, obviously I've just said the fabric's not super thick, but in terms of the body of the dress, it does feel quite thick. It almost feels like it's triple layered. I don't think the fit is amazing. I have quite a lot of excess fabric around the waist, but I personally probably wouldn't want to go down to an extra small, because I feel like this region would be in risk. So I'm not not entirely sure who this dress is made for, but I don't think it's me. I just have a lot of excess fabric. It doesn't quite seem to me that the right fabric has been used on this dress, if that makes sense. It feels like it needed something a little bit more and a little bit more fitted around here. Of the fabric itself, it's basically like t-shirt fabric with a little bit of a shine to it. It's not the slinky material that like Pretty Little Thing and a lot of the websites use. It's not that fabric. It's like a thick t-shirt fabric. It honestly feels like that. Another thing that I'm not a huge fan of, the bottom stitching on the dress, it's sort of giving t-shirt. And I know that this is really fussy, but I just feel like the finishings on this dress definitely gives PLT. It gives misguided, it gives cheap fast fashion, and it doesn't feel any different to the dresses that I used to get in uni from PLT for like 15-20 pounds. It doesn't feel any different. It just has a massive price tag in comparison whacked on it. So for me personally, I don't think the fabric on this is great. The fit is a little off. I'm just getting a lot of excess fabric, and for me this is too short. So for me personally, this is a pass. I'm not a huge fan of this. I just feel like the design is meant to be like a wow knockout dress, but the fabric and the fit doesn't match that. If you were curious from the back, there's a lot more coverage on it from the back, so it's not like super skimpy at the back. So even though it's very in your face at the front, the back it's a lot more covered up. But if you are interested, I would recommend that you size down in these because they seem to have a lot of excess fabric. But if you are on the taller side, you're probably going to want to skip the minis, in my opinion, so far from what I've tried, because they're just too short. Okay, we have another dress. This one is the Dreams Become Reality mini dress in chocolate, and again I got this in a size small. So the neckline on this, I really like these sorts of necklines, but can you see how it's just flipping? And you can see the stitching, and I can't get it to try going like this, and it just keeps flipping back over, like it won't quite sit flush, which is annoying because I do like this kind of neckline. And then it has a tiny little strap here, and then it just goes around the back into like a much fuller coverage option. It's sort of quite high coverage at the front, and then it just comes down into being a mini dress. I honestly do actually like this, the mesh lining on this one. I do find it interesting how there's a lot of differences in terms of what they line things with. Another thing that I do like about this one is it's a lot easier to get on than the last one because it has a zip down the side, which again, just from like a pricing point of view, I feel like if they've added a zip, it's another thing that they've considered. But I think this dress was actually cheaper than the black one I've just shown you. But if you want my honest opinion, I feel like this one feels and looks a lot nicer than the other one. Lengthwise as well, this one is also just a lot better. So the length on this is honestly really very decent. Like I don't really have any qualms about it. It will ride up a little bit, but the length is honestly pretty good. I do find the lining on the dresses slightly irritating just because it does sort of bunch, and then you get these bunches under the fabric where it bunched up in the lining underneath. It's kind of, you have to do a lot of readjusting to get the dresses to sit flush. The fabric is 90% polyester, 10% elastane, and in terms of how that feels, it sort of feels like a matte version of a slinky fabric. So it doesn't have that high shine to it, but it has that sort of soft silky feel to it. So if you've ever tried slinky sort of fabrics, that is how this fabric feels. Sizing wise, I would definitely say this one's very true to size. I don't have a ton of excess fabric. I don't think you need to size down. I don't think you need to size up. I do find it really interesting. On all the labels it says designed in Australia, but everything is made in China. I do find that interesting because most brands won't put designed in on their label. So there is part of me that's wondering if people think because this is coming from Australia and it says designed in Australia, it's made in Australia. But I did find quite a few pieces on their website that are on all the fast fashion websites. They're on whitefox, they're on Ego, they're on Public Desire, especially when it comes to shoes. So when it says designed in Australia, I'm not sure if that means absolutely everything. Obviously brands do take inspiration from each other, it's not a crime, but there is certain pieces that I find on all of these sort of sites, just at varying different price points. But yeah, out of all of the dressy stuff that I've tried so far in this haul, this is definitely my favourite piece. And yes, it's 90% polyester, but it does feel nice. The quality on this doesn't feel bad. Equally, does it feel any different to the dresses that I used to buy in my uni days for like 20 quid from PLT. No, it doesn't feel any different to those pieces. So far from everything I've tried, it feels like Pretty Little Thing, Misguided, Ego, all those sorts of websites, just with a surcharge of about 20 to 30 pounds per piece. That's how it seems so far to me. Okay, we're really onto the holiday vacation bits now. This is the Take Me Away set. I got the top and the pants in a size small, and this actually is probably the best in terms of fabric blend so far. It's not 100% linen, but it does have linen in it. So look, unlike the Scot, which looked linen-y, but it's actually 100% polyester, this set is 60% linen, 40% tencel. So fabric wise, it's definitely warranting a bit of a better price point. This is the top. I'm going to go through the top first. I actually really wanted this set in brown, but it was sold out, so I had to get the white. I just feel like something about this top does not look quite right. It's sort of like a napkin detailing top, but it's very like lax here. I feel like does it need to be tighter? I don't know if that looks any better. Maybe I need to tie it a bit tighter, but it's got this frilly detailing here. It's single lined, it is sheer, so you will need to wear some form of like nipple cover under this. And then it comes into like this sort of like napkin. It looks like a napkin basically. This is how it looks from the side, so you do get plenty of side boob coverage. You're not going to be slipping and sliding out of it, and it's sort of poofy, and then it's fully adjustable, so it's completely backless. You've got a tie around the waist and a tie around the neck, so you can tie it as loose or as tight as you want it. I would say for the top, I would probably size down. I feel like I should have got an extra small in the top because I just feel like I have a bit too much fabric here. I don't love how this looks. I feel like this is one of those things that looks a lot better online than it does in person, but at the same time it really needs an iron, so it's really hard to tell. I don't want to judge it too harshly. In terms of the pants, you've got sort of a matching detail. So can you see how this is sort of frilly? The waistband is frilly. There's definitely elasticity to it, but there is no drawstring, so you can't tighten it. So I wouldn't size up just in case it's too loose on you in that case. There are also no pockets on this piece, so for me personally that is a bit of a problem. I would prefer to have pockets on this piece, because where am I going to be putting my stuff if I don't have a bag with me? I just feel like the pants could have done with a pocket. But yeah, there's no drawstring on these. There is a little bit of a front seam, but it's very sort of hidden. You can't really see it from a distance, but these are completely see-through. Having said that, I have linen pants that are like nearly 100% linen that I've paid twice the price of these for, and those are also sheer. It is sort of in the nature of these sorts of pants for them to be sheer, but again, they don't look see-through online, so be aware. These are completely see-through in person. You'd want to wear light underwear, or even like as a beach cover-up, obviously be able to see bikini, but that's not going to look bad. The more I'm looking at this top, the more I kind of hate it. I'm not going to lie. The website makes this top look really cute. I'm not convinced by it. This is how the pants look from the back. Again, I keep going to put my hands in my pockets, but there is no pocket, so there's nothing for me to put my hands in. And then they just come down into a very wide leg trouser, and these are tall girl friendly. Yay, we have a win for the tall girls. The pants are definitely tall girl friendly. Having said that, if you're on the short side, these are going to be way too long, because on me they are dragging on the floor, but I would probably wear these with a little bit of a heel. So with a little bit of a heel for me, these would be totally fine. In terms of where you wear them, I would say these are sort of like mid to low rise. They're definitely not made to be worn high rise, but obviously you can pull them up however you wish to do so. But yeah, I can't decide how I feel about this set. I can't decide if it's giving pajamas. Let me know what you guys think. Is it giving pajamas or not? I'm really not sold on the top. The pants I actually quite like, and I can see myself using these quite a lot on holiday as just like an easy linen pant to put on, because they have so much stretch to them. Let me know, what do you guys think? Is it giving pajamas, or is it giving Greek holiday, because I am going to Greece? Sizing wise, in terms of the pants, I would definitely say you can stay true to size. I don't think you need to size up or down. I think this is probably like one of the more worth it sets that I've tried. I'm not entirely sure it's not giving pajamas. As soon as I discovered White Fox as a swim brand, I felt like it would be kind of illegal to not get any swim. I decided to just get the top, but this is the Asper Bikini top, and this full price is £35. I got it in a size small, and I definitely should have sized up, just because I feel like it sort of just looks kind of bolted onto me. I feel like if I had a bit more coverage, I could probably do a bit more pulling. Details wise, it's got this sort of frill along the triangle, and then it's just a triangle sort of bikini. It looks like it's not because of the frill, but it is a triangle bikini. Like if you take the frill off, triangle, it's got this sort of aqua with starfish sort of print on it. I do feel like this looks a lot better on the website than it does in person. I feel like in person it looks a lot more like childish almost, whereas online it looks like a much more well thought out print. I do like the turquoise and the orange together though, and I feel like it would look really good with a tan. You've also got a little charm, which again, obviously you need to be careful with tarnishing, but that's the same with any brand that's using charms. They usually will tarnish, or they might get quite hot in the sun. And then it just ties around the neck and ties around the back, so it's fully adjustable in that regard. I will say, obviously my first run-in with White Fox was swimming bottoms. I just got like the super tiny ones, and I think they were more expensive per pair than even this top was. Quality of those compared to the quality of this is stark. Like this does not feel like high quality swim fabric. It feels sort of flimsy and thin and lacking in sort of structure, if that makes sense. Like, and obviously I bought from White Fox before. The swim I got years ago when I was at uni was much nicer than this is. It just feels very flimsy, and again, it's not too dissimilar to bikinis that I bought from PLT for a little bit cheaper than this. I don't know what PLT's prices are right now since the rebrand, I'll be honest, but you all know it's the same stuff. Like you can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. It's the same stuff. They might have put the prices up, but it's the same stuff. So that's sort of what I'm drawing comparisons to. There are some sort of like quality issues in terms of like where the stitching meets. I just feel like it's not very clean finishes, and you can sort of see fraying on the stitching already, and it's not just on one side, it's literally on both sides. So that's definitely something to be aware of in terms of the swim. But yeah, this is definitely a much lower quality swim piece than the swim pieces I bought back when they were a small swim brand, which is quite sad because obviously that's how they started out, and they've sort of like descended into being, well, I mean, they've obviously grown a lot, but they've sort of descended into just becoming this like fast fashion conglomerate basically, and it's definitely not the same. So I am sad to see how the swim has sort of developed, but in terms of for the price point, I feel like it's not too dissimilar to other brands that are charging similar prices, but it's definitely not the high quality swim that it used to be, in my opinion. I do like the print and I do like the design. In terms of sizing, I would definitely say you can go true to size. To be honest, I shouldn't have got a small in it. I should have got a medium. I have to get a medium in most triangle tops because I do have a bigger chest, but for other people it's definitely going to be true to size, and it does come with padding. But yeah, I will definitely not be running back to buy any more swim from there anytime soon. It's not what it used to be, nowhere near. Okay, this is definitely another very holiday coded piece. This is the Wanderlust top, I believe. Again, it is almost 100% polyester in fabric blend. I think there's a little bit of elastane to it, but it's almost 100% polyester. It looks, in terms of the finish, it looks silky. That's sort of how it looks and how it feels on the skin, but obviously it's not. So just to show you the details wise, it's got these really pretty beads around the neck, and then you tie it like that around the neck and it's completely backless, and then the bottom ties sort of like it's almost like a napkin. It obviously has a very wide cut around here, but it's not too wide to the point where it's too exposed or going to be uncomfortable. I honestly really like this top. I think this top might be my favorite piece out of this entire haul. And then in terms of the front of it, it dips down. It literally is like you're wearing a tablecloth. It dips down into a little V in terms of length. My belly button's here. This is where it comes down to, and honestly it looks quite nice with the linen pants. Those are the pants that I've kept on. I got this in a size small. I would definitely say to stay true to size. If you're between sizes, you can probably go with taking a size down in it, but this obviously almost 100% polyester, so it's not like well made or anything like that. It's not insane fabric, but I do think this looks a lot more expensive than it is. Whereas with a lot of the other pieces I've tried so far, I feel like they look cheaper than what they cost, and they cost like 50 quid, but they look like PLT. Honestly, looks really expensive in my opinion. In person it looks expensive. I'm not sure how it's picking up on camera, but it looks really expensive. This is really nice. I can see myself getting a lot of use out of this on holiday. It's very comfortable. The beads aren't uncomfortable at all around the neck, and it just feels so like nice. It's very cooling on the skin. It has that sort of cold to touch feel. I would be slightly concerned in terms of snagging and stuff, like catching this on jewellery. You will need to be careful. It'll probably be quite delicate. This is probably the best thing that I've tried out of this entire haul so far. I feel like this looks so much more expensive than it was, and it's such a cute holiday piece, and I'm really into the sort of bead thing at the moment. So yeah, this was like chunky jewellery on holiday in a really nice tan. I feel like this would look really cute, so I'm very, very happy with this piece. Okay, I then ordered two sort of corset looking tops. One of them I've just tried to get on, which was the Forever Feels one, and I literally cannot get it on for the life of me. So I would skip on that one because I literally cannot get it on, or maybe size up in it, I don't know. I did get it in true to size, but physically can't get it on. So instead I've put on the Remind Me Again top. These are £45 and these are a clear rip-off of the Reformation tops. I think it's called the Melanie top, which I have actually tried before, but I got the wrong size, so I did end up sending it back, and it is also 3 times the price of this. Those retail for like £140. However, you can get them like second hand for around the same price as this. I've seen a few pop up on Vinted for the same price as this one. Similar in design, but it's nowhere near the same. This one is like completely different in terms of fabric and everything. So you've got two very thin straps which sit a lot wider than typical, but I think that's the right option for this top, because if they're too far in, it doesn't really give like the corset sort of style look. And they are fully adjustable at the back, so you can adjust those. It does also have like a bra clasp at the back, because the bra that sits under it is literally like a bra, so it's got underwiring and everything. So if you find that uncomfortable, you might want to skip on this because it fully has wiring in it. Yeah, it's just like a mesh bra basically, white underneath, and then it has this black layer over it, which again is mesh, but it is a little bit sheer. I would recommend that you wear nipple covers with this, just because even though you've got the white and then the black over it, I feel like it could be quite sheer, especially under very like sunny or very harsh lighting. But this is then just mesh, all ruched down the middle. And in terms of length, again, it does cover my belly button, but it's pretty much high hip, and I don't love how this fits. There's no like snatching to this at all. I feel like on the product photos they make it look like this is very much like a corset, and it's not. It's high stretch, it doesn't have any boning to it, there's no support to it, and I honestly feel like ruching. On some things I like it, but on most things, especially tops and especially as a front detailing, I feel like it just makes things look quite cheap. So I don't really love how that looks. I love how flattering this is in terms of on the chest. I think this is really, really, really flattering, but in terms of the fabric and just sort of how this looks from a quality and finishings point of view, I don't think personally this is worth almost £50. It's quite expensive for what it is. It is literally just like a mesh kind of crappy finish rip-off of the Reformation one. Now obviously it's not going to be exactly the same as the Reformation one because that's 3 times the price, totally different fabrics, but in terms of the design, that is what the inspiration is taken from. But personally I don't really love this. I just don't like the ruching, and I feel like the fit just isn't nice. Again, online they do a really good job at making this look like it's going to be really snatching, and it's just not. But sizing wise, I would definitely say to stay true to size. If I'd have sized down, I wouldn't have fit in the cup. So especially if you've got implants or you've just got boobs in general, definitely stay true to size if you are still interested in it. If you're super flat in the chest, it does have a lot of stretch, so you might want to size down in order to not get gaping. But yeah, I think it's a shame because like up here, I do really like how this looks up here, but then when it gets to this part, I just feel like it really lets it down and it doesn't look that cute. So for me personally, this is a pass. Okay, so next we've got the hold out set. I got the top and I also got the maxi skirt, so we'll go through the top first. I got them both in a size small. In terms of the details, I feel like this is like the white linen set that I showed you, just in sort of like a different font. If that makes sense. I feel like they're along the same sort of line. You just have a halter style strap here. It's fully adjustable, so you just tie it however tight or loose you want it at the back, and then it also ties around here. You definitely do have a little bit more side boob on show with this one, and then it's sort of like a squarish neckline. And then up here it is double lined, so there's no sheerness through the bust, but then the bottom bit that just sort of flows underneath, it's just completely flowy. This is single line, so this bit is sheer. Again, all the tops are pretty much the exact same length, so it comes to around top of my hip sort of height, but obviously it's like a napkin handkerchief sort of style top. You just tie it however you want, but it sort of flows from the body. This bit definitely fits the bust, but this bit just sort of flows. So sizing wise for the top, I would definitely say to stay true to size. Now in terms of the fabric on this, it's 100% polyester, and it's not the most comfortable in my opinion if you have sensitive skin. It's not not very soft. It's a little rough feeling and it's a little bit itchy. That's nothing necessarily to do with the fact it's polyester, because the last top I tried on was almost 100% polyester and that felt like butter on my skin. This does feel quite uncomfortable and quite itchy, like the ruffle sort of detailings. It's just a little on the uncomfortable side. And then in terms of the skirt, it has an adjustable drawstring so you can tighten it, but honestly this comes pretty tight anyway. And in terms of the height of it, I would say it looks like it's meant to be worn around just below belly button sort of height, and it is definitely, it's not tight, but it doesn't have a ton of stretch. Like when you fully stretch your legs like this, you can't stretch any further. It is a stiff fabric, but because it's flowy you won't notice it so much when you're walking. But this is sort of how the full set looks together. The length of the skirt is good. Like if you're on the tall side, this length will be pretty fine for you. I think if you're any taller than me, it might be a little on the short side, but if you are 5'6", 31 inches to the floor on the inseam, the length is pretty much perfect. It just about skims the floor, but I would also be fine with this with a heel on. Definitely say it does feel like it's digging into the fat on my hips a little bit, so if you are between sizes for the skirt, I would probably size up. Details wise, it just has the same like continuation of the ruffle sort of detailing. It does also have a lining underneath it on the skirt, which is this sort of stretchy, like slinky sort of material. So I do find that the skirt is a lot more comfortable on my skin as opposed to the top, because it has that lining in it. So yeah, just to show you the top again, this is what it looks like, and then from the back as a full set, this is what it sort of looks like. For me personally, this full set together is closing in on almost like £100, if not £100, and I just feel like that's quite steep for what it is and the fabric that's being used. But it just goes to show how hit and miss a website can be, because from the look of this, it looked like it would be sort of like a linen-y sort of fabric like the white set that I've just showed you, but it's not. It's really like, when my skin rubs up against this from the outside, itchy. It's a very like cheap feeling fabric. So for me personally, at that price point, I probably wouldn't pay it, because again, I feel like this is no different to something you could get from one of the other twin websites. Well, obviously they're not related to each other at all, but from one of the other websites where they all sort of sell basically the exact same thing. I feel like you could get it for much cheaper. It's probably not worth paying the surcharge, considering I think it will probably allegedly maybe be the exact same thing. I think this looks a lot nicer online than it does in real life personally. Okay, moving on to like a dressier dress, and this is actually a dupe of a dress that I wore for my birthday 2 years ago, I think it was now. It's a dupe of the rat and boa dresses, which have been duped a lot. Some of them tend to use, in terms of the dupes, they tend to use like a jersey sort of fabric that's very like high stretch, and I think that looks honestly awful, especially with the print. This one is definitely more similar-ish to the rat and boa fabric, but definitely not the exact same. It is the Beyond the Stars maxi dress in Sangria floral size small. This is definitely one of those pieces where the print differs piece to piece, because the print on this is actually quite different. So details wise, you have this. Now on the rat and boa version, it's completely sheer. This one has a nude sort of skin lining, but it's done very, very poorly. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, it's already sort of coming away here, and on this side it's like really wide, so it's sort of poking out the side, whereas on this side it's not as wide. So it's definitely very poorly done in terms of the lining. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's very poorly done. But yeah, because you have that lining, it's not sheer, whereas with the rat and boa one, it's completely see-through. You need nipple covers, and there's no adjustability on that. It just clips around the back and then it ties here, and then it zips up at the back, whereas the rat and boa one, it's more of a cross back. I will pop in some pictures so you guys can see what that one looks like. This one is definitely meant to be a similar print to the one that I have. I have this one and I have the leopard print one, and I want to go on record and be very clear, I also don't think the rat and boa version is worth the price that they charge for what it is, but I do think that one has better finishings and attention to detail. For example, the lining on this is just so poorly and cheaply done, like it's completely uneven either side. And also fit wise, if you have implants, my implant ends here, so it's sort of cutting my boob off weird, and because I can't adjust it, it's really not fitting quite right under bust. It sort of needs to further down and like that, because right now it's sort of cutting my boob off in a weird spot. Brownie points for this as well is the bottom does also have a lining. So the rat and boa one is completely sheer all the way through. This one has a lining all the way down, and it is that sort of like chiffony sort of mesh, stiff mesh sort of fabric. But with this having a lining, it's not sheer at all. It's completely dense, so you don't need to worry about sheerness with this one, whereas with the rat and boa one you do. From the back, this is how it looks, and I do find that this is really flattering. The length on this is also perfect for me. It hits the floor, there's no issues with the length whatsoever, and with a tiny little heel, this would be the perfect length for me. So again, taller girls, it's definitely a taller girl friendly dress. And I would say the bottom half of this dress feels really good in terms of quality. I'm just not super impressed with how poorly the lining has been done up top. I do also find that this one's easier to get on because it has a zip to help you step into it, whereas the rat and boa one doesn't. You sort of just have to like yank it over. Again, this is why when it says designed in Australia, I'm kind of like, how much designing is going on? Because this is a fragrant rip-off of the rat and boa ones, but they're not the only brand to do it. And to be fair, out of the dupes I've seen, this is one of the better ones, because those jersey ones do not look good. They are not it. They look really bad. So in terms of dupes for the rat and boa version, I don't think this one's bad. I just don't love how poorly done the lining is on this, and it is still £80. It's still 80 Great British pounds, but it's a damn sight cheaper than the rat and boa version. So honestly, if you are cool with maybe the lining being a little bit uneven up here, I would say this is probably one of the best dupes out there for it, and I don't hate this. It will be going back purely because I have the rat and boa one, so I really don't need this one, and I do prefer the rat and boa one because I don't like really the lining on this for me personally. But if you are in the market for a cheaper option, this is nice. Be aware there's no stretch to the fabric on this. It is really stiff, so I would not size down in this at all. I would say to stay true to size, and if you are between sizes, go with a size up. But I would say out of everything I've got in this haul, this is probably one of the better pieces, and it's a pretty good dupe of the rat and boa dress, to be honest. Okay, another holiday piece. I've seen these everywhere, so I wanted to pick them up. This is the Feeling the Heat dress, which I got in a size small. This full price, I think these are about £50. I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat, this is not worth £50. Feels no different to like a £10 PLT dress that you used to be able to get back in the day, which I'm pretty sure you can probably still get now. It's that like slinky sort of, it almost feels like swimwear sort of fabric. It's very soft, don't get me wrong, but there is nothing special about this dress or the fabric, nor is it worth £50, especially considering, like I said, you might make the assumption because they're charging more that it's a much more ethical supply chain. We don't actually know that for certain, so it's worth keeping that in mind. So this is what it looks like. It does have a like squarish sort of typical neckline, spaghetti strap, and then it does have adjustable straps at the back so you can make them longer, make them shorter. I will say the prints that they do are very pretty, they're very striking. Just got this sort of like florally hoodie sort of print on, and it is high stretch. Like this dress has a lot of stretch to it. It's very flattering from the back. Like it looks so good on the glutes. It reminds me of how the Skims dresses flatter the glutes. Any tight maxi dress in like a thin fabric is going to be so flattering on your glutes because it doesn't squish them down at all. It just sort of lets them be and sculpts to them without squishing them in any way, shape or form. So any tight thin maxi dress is going to do that. There is also sheerness with this dress, so I would recommend that you wear nipple covers underneath it. I've got nipple covers on, and I did put black underwear on. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it is see-through, so you will need to wear like nudish sort of underwear, but hopefully you guys can see there's nothing special about the fabric. It's literally just like the slinky fabric that other brands would charge you a much lower price point for, but obviously whitefox has really good marketing, so they get away with charging 50. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, it's flattering, it's cute, the quality feels nice. It's definitely not like I've put it on and I've been like, this is dog crap. It's just nothing to write home about, and the quality is nothing out of the ordinary. It feels like any other slinky fast fashion dress. That's how this feels. Lengthwise, it does hit the floor if I pull it all the way down on me. So again, if you're on the short side, you might find that this dress is a little long on you, but if you are on the taller side, you should be fine. But personally, I just don't see the hype behind this. But then I never really got the hype with the Skims dresses. Like, yes, they're flattering, but they are not worth the price point that she's charging for them. And just in case you were curious, the print is not printed on both sides, so it's just plain sort of pink ombre on the other side. It's not printed on both sides. And in terms of the fabric for this, it is 85 nylon, 15 spandex. Again, it really kills me with the designed in Australia, because it's not very frequently that a brand would put that on the label, but again, I feel like it's, some people would see that but they wouldn't read the made in China part and they will assume this is all made in Australia. By the way, there is nothing wrong with things being made in China. There are plenty of really high quality goods that come from China. It's very outdated and honestly very racist to assume that everything coming out of China must be really bad quality, all that sort of stuff. That's not the assumption I'm making. I just find it an interesting choice that they've put designed in Australia where it would usually say made in XYZ on a label. But yeah, I got this in a size small. Stay true to size. If you're between sizes, it's high stretch, so you can definitely size down, but I definitely wouldn't be running out to get my hands on this. Okay, final item. This is another dress. I got the All My Love or All Your Love dress in white in a size small because I thought this looked really good on the website. Definitely been catfished. It doesn't look drastically different. It's just one of those things where fabric and stuff is not what I was expecting. So the fabric on the body of this dress is that kind of like, in my opinion, it reminds me of old school PLT and Misguided. You know when everyone had those mini skirts with like the little triangle slit and they were that sort of crepe fabric? That's exactly what this fabric is. So it's not the nicest feeling fabric. I think it feels a little on the cheap side. Yeah, it's this like halter neck dress. I will be honest, it's very flattering on the chest for me. It fits really well in terms of the chest, and it just sort of clips around the back of the neck like so, so it's very flattering on the back. And then it comes down into this sort of mesh, again ruched. It did look like this on the website, so I guess I can't be mad. I just don't love how this transpires in real life. I feel like it just looks off because it's very tight here and it's so tight around my hips, like it's squishing my glutes, but it's so loose around here. Definitely not very good sizing wise because I couldn't size down in this. It just feels like it's not really giving anything. I'm getting squished here, I'm getting pushed here, and then my midsection where we would all probably want more support is just kind of left, which is an interesting choice. And then it comes down into a full length skirt at the bottom, and this is how it looks from the back. It is definitely flattering from the back. I don't think it looks bad, but it's very uncomfortable. Like, this is really uncomfortable. The bottom part is also lined, so it does have a little bit of a liner in it. It's lined with mesh, and then it's got this sort of like thick crepe fabric over the top, just to show you more of the dress sort of in full from the back, because there's certain details you couldn't see. You can see here how tight this is around my glutes and hips and around my upper thighs. It does have a slit at the back, which makes it a lot easier to walk in and a lot more mobile. It's sort of like a fishtail cut at the bottom, and the length, as you can see, is fine. It's plenty long enough. I just think from the front this is really unflattering because it's so loose here but it's so tight here that it's just sort of giving door. So for me personally, I don't love that. I don't necessarily think it's screaming super flattering dress, which is a shame because I thought it really would be. It's also just like, I just feel like the stomach cut is just very awkward looking and very unflattering. I don't think this would look good on the vast majority of people. And even though it has like a thick crepe fabric on the bottom of it, it is still sheer. Like, I've got black underwear on and in person in my mirror I can see it, so you will need to wear nude underwear with this. Up top seems fine, but I do have nipple covers on just in case. When I'm going to edit, things look a little bit haywire, but I love how it fits up here. I just find the rest of the dress off. I also hate the crepe fabric. I really don't like that fabric. It just reminds me of cheap fabrics. It reminds me of when I used to shop on Misguided and PLT a lot, so I don't personally love that. Sizing wise, I would say to stay true to size, but if you are between sizes or you have particularly big glutes and thighs, I would definitely 100% recommend that you size up in this, just because it's really, it has stretch, but it's very hard to get on. Like, I almost didn't get this on. It felt like it was ripping when I was putting it on. Very hard to get on, and it's very restrictive around the hip and glute region. She's a pass. Okay, that is everything that I picked up from White Fox. My overall thoughts are it just is very reminiscent for me of when I used to shop frequently on PLT, Misguided, those sorts of sites where it's very hit and miss. I don't think the website pictures necessarily show truly how things fit or look, but that's the case with a lot of brands, whether they're higher end, lower end, whatever end of the spectrum. They do pinning, all that sort of stuff. Like, it's never going to be completely accurate. So yeah, I can't make any sweeping statements about the brand because it really seems to depend on what you pick up and what items you go for. But I will say, generally speaking, the mini stuff is very much not tall girl friendly, but then the long stuff is very much doesn't seem to be short girl friendly. It definitely seems to be on the longer side. Obviously, like I said at the start, I'm not an expert in fabrics, but I do definitely feel like some of the fabric choices, for example with like the rib tank, they just don't make sense for the items. It makes sense from like making them really cheaply point of view, but it just doesn't make sense to use mainly polyester for like a cotton ribbed tank. If anyone can explain to me as to why someone would do that, please let me know if there is like a reason why. But yeah, I feel like, again, when you've got that many items on a website, like I said, the summer edit alone is over 900 pages long. When you've got that many items on a website, it's bound to not have like a high level of quality control or being very mindful and intentional about the product that is being put out, because you are pumping out that much product. Like I said, they are definitely up there with your PLTs, what Misguided used to be, all the sort of fast fashion websites. The only difference, in my opinion, between White Fox and PLT is there is a surcharge on the pieces, and White Fox have better marketing. They don't seem to have had the bad press and the bad PR that Pretty Little Thing has had yet, but it seems to me to be a very similar product, very similar quality, very similar fabrics. Like, it really does remind me, like going through these items, it reminds me of when I was at uni and I'd buy like 20 things from PLT. Some of them would be good, some of them would be bad. None of them were really like amazing or great, but it's just very hit and miss because there's just so much stuff on the website. Yeah, in terms of is it worth it, I would definitely say the vast majority of this haul was definitely not worth it. I would say 70 to 80% of this haul is definitely going back. I don't think for the price point it's anything to write home about, because to me it just seems like Pretty Little Thing with a higher price point. Product seems the same, sizing seems the same, fabric choices seem the same, fit issues seem the same. That's what it really reminds me of the most. Just got better PR and marketing. If you guys would like me to do this with any other brands, please let me know, especially as we're going in summer. I know a lot of people are doing a lot of summer shopping for their summer wardrobe, so if there's any other brands that you would like to see me review, give thoughts on, go over, please let me know and I will place an order and film it for you guys. Let me know in the comments below as well if you've tried White Fox, if you had a similar experience, or maybe polar opposite, maybe everything you've bought has been amazing. Let me know what your experiences have been. The other thing that I did want to note, which I forgot to mention at the start, is just sizing wise. I do find that with the website, sizing offered depends on the piece. Like, not every single piece comes in every single size, but I do find in general it definitely skews more towards the more petite side. A lot of the items will go down to like 3 extra small, but they won't go above an XL. So from like a sizing point of view, it's definitely not the most inclusive option out there, especially if you are looking for those bigger sizes. There's a couple pieces that come in like the double XL, the triple XL, but there really isn't many. But there's quite a lot of pieces that come in the triple extra small. So just to be aware of like sizing and inclusivity, it's definitely not that inclusive, but most pieces on the website just run extra small to extra large, which isn't that out of the ordinary. I just find it interesting that when they are offering those extended ranges in pieces, they tend to go for more of the smaller size than the bigger sizes, if that makes sense. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you did. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to and you haven't already, and I will see you guys